Hey crafters, this is Trish Gillum, and I'm working on a video series right now with the idea of what do I take to a crop? Or for those of you who may not be familiar with it, you might be wondering, what is a crop? So a crop is a place for social crafting for paper crafters. And I go to a variety of different crafting events that are social, and they don't have to be paper craft specific. I usually welcome any sort of hobby that can be, or craft that can be on the table, and preferably that's maybe noise-wise conducive to being with a large group. Which sewing, for example, we do have people who sew that come, but maybe make sure that your machine isn't going to be really loud. So what I run a group, I've grown this community over the last couple of years, and I run a local group in the Phoenix area. It's called the Phoenix Paper Crafters. If you're not already part of the group, we'd love to have you come join us. I do run some events myself, but primarily I've just created a place that anyone can share their events in. It's really intended, meant to be a place for building community and connecting people. I believe very strongly that we all need other people in our lives. We need friends. And sometimes as an adult, I've heard many people say it's so much harder to make friends as an adult. And so really just created this place this group as a space to be able to connect and build relationships. Been very intentional about the culture that we want in the group. It's intended to be friendly and loving and silly and fun, but ultimately we really care about people, and that's kind of the heart of what we are about. And so during that time that I've been doing that, I've been paper crafting for over 20 years at this point. I started as a teenager, and I did take a good maybe 8 years off, kind of right after college, my late 20s to early 30s. I took some time off, and I just got back into it a few years ago. And when I did it when I was younger, I didn't really do it as a social thing, partially because most of the groups and places that I could have done for crops charged, and I just had no money at the time. But as I got back into it as an adult a few years ago, many of our local stores had closed. There weren't as many places to go, and I was trying to find places to go and be part of it. And I actually found one group that met about a half hour away from me, but even though it's only a half hour, there's like nothing in between where I live and where they are, so it feels a lot further. And I committed to doing a monthly swap, a card swap, and it was year long, but it was once a month that we met. And because of that, it was at the same time as their crop. So swap is when you go and you make items and you trade them out and exchange them with each other. A crop is the social gathering. So at this social gathering, we swapped cards, but I was committed to being there once a month. So I made a point to go every month. And what I found is when I first was going, my first few times, I was so overwhelmed with what to pack. And it was on Saturday, and I would spend Friday stressing about packing and maybe not even packing. And then I might be up late or up really early and low on sleep, and I'd still show up late to the event because I was finally packing and I hauled all this stuff out. And then I didn't really make very much. I mostly just socialized. I had to haul it all into the building and back to my car, and then from the car into the house, and I just kind of made a mess in the house. And I kept thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. And my first solution I came to was this kit right here. This is my kind of main crafting, or my basic, always have on hand crafting tote. I actually don't always have it on hand now. I'm gonna make this as a series because you guys, it would be way too long to show you all my different things that I suggest for packing. This was the start. It's one kit that has really all of the essentials that I could need and far more than the essentials. It is really based on my style of crafting though, so you're going to want to tweak it to your own style. But I have this one kit, and this kit, it sits on my desk when I craft at home. And so I have it all right there, easy to grab. I don't unpack it when I go home. I might clean it out occasionally. Sometimes it ends up collecting weird odds and ends and starts getting even heavier than it already is. And trust me, this baby is heavy. Well, that's my one critique of it at this point, or one thing I would change is I wish it had like wheels or something. I do sometimes take a wagon to stuff, but if this is the only thing I'm carrying, then I don't really need a wagon. And I can actually craft for hours with just this. I don't have to bring anything else, but I'll show you what all's in it and that'll help explain it. And then, so sometimes this is my one thing, and that was the goal I had come up with when I started creating it, was that I could keep it on my desk and use it when I was crafting at home. But then when I wanted to go to a crop, I didn't have to think. I could just grab this and I would have some things I could do just based on what was in it. From that, I've kind of evolved a little bit, and I have these little kits that I take with me, and I'll do those as some separate videos, but I thought I'd start with just this as my basic kit as an idea to show you. And again, you'll want to adapt it to being what is yours or what works for you. So let's get started. So this pocket over here, let's do this one. I have a couple of these Zig 2-way glue pens. They're one of my preferred glues for smaller items, although these days I've been using a lot more of the glitter glue, or sorry, it's oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on the name of this stuff, but and it's made here locally, or like in the Prescott area. I will put its name in the comments because I am totally blanking out on what it is. Actually, you know what? There's, sorry, little bottle right here, art glitter. Designer clear adhesive. So I do have this bottle of it, and then I have these little bottles that I ordered the bottles online and just refilled with a bigger bottle. And I found I actually like these better than this. And I have a whole bunch of them because I had ordered them to do a class and to make sure everybody had them. But now I almost always use those. So, you know, you kind of collect different adhesives along the way. I probably would go to just using these once these are used up. I don't know if I'll even really continue using those, but since I have them, and then I have this bottle. This was the first bottle of art glitter glue that I ever got. And you can refill them, although I might just go to using those once it's used up. I also have Wink Estella. This is just the kind of basic one that's, I think, silver. It's one of my favorite ways to add kind of a sparkly shimmer to something. This stuff is really old, but it still works. Diamond Glaze. One of my, one of the adhesives I like to use, and it also gives some fun dimensional looks. So there's that pocket. This pocket over here, tweezers. You never know when you might need that for a project. And then I have a couple of pairs of scissors in here. And then these guys probably should have some sort of cap, but they don't. So some X-Acto type knives. I have this funny little tool in here that my friend Polly gave me. I'm not entirely sure what it's for. She gave us a tutorial on it, but I don't remember. So, but thanks, Polly. I still have it. So that's kind of like cutting and then tweezers. This side over here has the same idea in pockets. I have these little mini misters. One's a little bigger than the other. You sometimes have projects that you need to spray a little water on to get a look to it. This right here, I have some Copics. I used to keep one of these whole pockets full of Copics, These days, if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of Copic coloring, I'll just bring Copic separately. But if I have a project I'm working on and I have the colors I know for it, sometimes I'll have those in there. And I did have a Christmassy project, which you can see its colors, and that's why those are in there like that. My kit has a few areas that are kind of, they swap out based on the type of item I'm working on, and you'll notice that it's set up for Christmas today. So I have my ATG gun. I'll pull that out. I sometimes have to kind of hunt for it because it doesn't always stay right there. My other adhesives are in this little pocket. So I have a little stack of different foam adhesives, and there's just kind of variety. There's also some glue dots in here. So just a variety of different types of foam squares that get stuck in that little pocket. And as I showed you before, the art glitter glue, I actually have 2 of those in here. And then this Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. Now, this was recommended to me at a craft store, and so I bought it, but I actually have not used it. So it's just hanging out in there so I can try it. I have a roll of glue dots, the famous red tape that we all know about, and then 2 different sizes of this style of adhesive, which is pretty popular. And then some thin foam mounting. So that's the thin foam. This stuff's really good if you're doing shaker cards. In fact, it's the best thing I have found for shaker cards. And so I tend to kind of hoard it for that and not use it for, you know, if I can use like a little pop dot or something, I'll use that instead. I like that thin stuff. So those are in there. I have more, so the paper trimmer I use, this is the blades for it. As you can see, somehow I've picked up a few adhesives on it. But I like to keep a few extra blades with me. Tombow tape runner. This is that repositional adhesive. I used to be like, what in the world will you use this stuff for? It's pain because it doesn't actually hold anything down. It's really nice for when you have little tiny things that you're coloring with Copics or however you're coloring. If they're already cut out, you can use this to adhere it to a piece of paper so you don't have this tiny little piece that's moving about, and then it comes up pretty easily for you after you're done coloring. I have a few refills for my ATG in here because if you're really going away crafting, you use it up. And then I have this glue sponge, which I haven't even tried. You can see some of my stuff still in the package. But one of these days I want to try my glue sponge. I'm pretty sure storing it on its side is not the best. I can even see it just has the adhesive on one side. I'll probably restore it some other way when I'm ready to use it, but it's not a perfect solution, but most of my adhesives end up in here. I do have some adhesives that I have quite a bit more of that are floating around, but let's go to this other side over here. In this one, I have, so this is the how to make a Sizzix sandwich, just a fun little guide that I actually bought it. I ordered it online. I had seen some people took a class and it looked really cool and they got it in the class, but I just found it online and ordered it. Then I have just a stack of scrap white paper. Great for things to color on. These were just left over from another project. These are intentionally cut down. These are Copic friendly paper that are cut down to the size that works really well with my Misty. So you'll see that I actually only have the mini Misty, and it's a little beat up looking. I need some magnets for it. But the mini Misty goes everywhere with me. But if I'm coloring or if I'm stamping some stuff to color, it really only holds a smaller size. So I intentionally have them pre-cut to the size that's appropriate, and those hang out in there. I have one little small slab of paper. Sometimes you just need some pattern paper, and so I have one little one in there. Now this guy is it's actually full of sheets that have already been stamped, like projects that I sat there stamping on a Copic friendly paper so I could color. So that's that is a project I could do. I could sit there and stamp if I have stamps with me, and then I make these, but it makes an easy project if I'm somewhere and I have my Copics, especially if it's the right ones that I have with me that day. I can sit there and just color away. The other thing I have in here, you'll see there's a little bag of some already finished little projects, little items that are just ready to put on to their cards. And so I have a few different projects going in here, but they don't take a lot of space, and it's an easy thing to have on hand as a grab and go. And then I almost always have white card bases with envelopes. Sometimes if I have another project, I might have whatever card bases go with that particular project in there. Put these back. Then this other corner pocket here, this one is very much set up for Christmas. So I do have one item that's just kind of always with me. It's my corner punch, and it has a few different styles of corner punch. And then you'll see that for inks, I was doing Christmas, so I just have some Christmas colored inks. I always carry with me my neutral inks, but if I want some other colors, this pocket is usually kind of my add-on, or what else do I need for what I'm using right then. And then it does have, it's very thin space behind it, but it has a space that I can fit a thing of clear stamps to go with my Misty, or like a die. So it doesn't have a whole lot of room in there. And then I would either need to bring my die cut machine, or a lot of events you go to, somebody else has one with them. So that right there, I could easily make some Christmas cards between having the Christmas colored Sizzix, Christmas stamps, a die, Christmas inks down here, the just white card bases. It'd be nice if my little mini pad was Christmas paper. It's not, but it's okay. But you can see that right there. I'm ready to go with some Christmas stuff. In this little flap that hangs out, I have one thin thing of glue dots. I find if I store them in the other thing, this was like a sample I was given, but it's great for traveling. And I find if I store them in the others, they end up unwound and all over the place. So I just stick them in here. And then I have a few different just enamel dots. So again, some great Christmas ones, but these are just fun. And then these were part of some kit, just some little gems, but they seemed good for in there. And then this part right here, so I always have my Versamark ink, and then I like to have the rich cocoa memento and the black memento. These are probably the two most basic and most frequently used of my memento inks, and because I color with Copic, that's typically what I'm gonna have on me. I do have, now this other pocket is kind of treasure trove is the nice way of saying it. Disaster might be another way of looking at it. But I do have some other inks in here. This pocket is kind of my catch-all. Primarily, it has some tools I don't use very often, but I like to have on hand. And it has little ways of embellishing that are versatile. And so kind of my most basic ones that I'm going to have with me all the time. So this bloom tool, it's a Fun Stamper's Journey tool. So I don't know if you can even still get this exact one, but you can find other tools like this. And it's really handy to get small die cuts. out. And so I keep it on hand. I've heard people who had issues that this little piece came through and poked them. I haven't had issues with storing it in here with keeping that on it. Then all these little cat eyes of inks. Let's see if I can pull most of them out before I start showing you. I think that's most of them, maybe. So I have, because I do Memento, for Copic, the London Fog is actually a fun one to use as well. And then the Desert Sand. Those are the two kind of more basic neutrals that I would use. And then I happen to have this blue. I don't know that I've ever used it, but it's kind of fun. Then, and in most of these, you'll see they're not opened yet. I had them in the full size that I've used, and I like them. And then I decided I just wanted to have them in all of the set, or in the little ones that I can take with me. So this is the Brilliance Gold. It's just a fun way to add some accents, some gold. This Moonlight White is one of the few, it's kind of a shimmery white, but it does add kind of a fun shimmery white. And then silver and copper. And so those are just kind of fun little accents that you can add to something, and they're versatile and don't take a lot of space. I do have 2 hole punches in here, 2 different sizes. I have a variety of erasers. Oops. So whether you need any of these, these are good for taking ink. If you got ink in the wrong spot, you use these sand erasers, and I don't know why I have 2 in there, but, and then this white, and then a pink one. So they're just kind of nice. And then this is an adhesive eraser. Also handy to have them available. Okay, I have a little thing of washi. I don't usually use this actually for washi. This is more like to hold a die down, or sometimes people just need washi for what they're doing and not necessarily to decorate. And this is one, it's fun, I like it, but it wasn't one I was going to use on a card. It came in a kit or in a set, so I just have it in there for that. Stickles, I have not seen many people use these in years, but I still like stickles, and I probably bought these like a decade ago and they haven't dried up. So it's the crystal and the icicle, and those are probably my 2 most versatile colors, so I still have them in there. Multi-matte medium, or multi-medium matte. Again, this is an adhesive that I've heard people say really good stuff about. I've never used it, but I have it on hand. I could try it. Then I love Nuvo drops, and I have a few just basic colors of Nuvo. So this one, does it actually call it gold? Yeah, bright gold. It's kind of fun. This one is Simply White. Again, really basic. And Ebony Black. And then the clear crystal drops. Morning Dew. And then this came with something I did, I don't even know, but it's like a glitter, Nuvo glitter drops, and so it fits in there too. This little pad, if you need something, if you're gonna be poking on something, I got this years ago from Scrapbooks, etc., which isn't even around anymore, but some of you remember Etc. and Mesa. But it's handy to have. This little guy, I think I got it in a class at Expo, and I believe it's for like rubbing vinyl in. Clearly I don't use it that much, but it doesn't take a lot of space, so it's in there. And then these guys are so Journey, they're the oh my gosh, silk, that's what they're called. So there's sparkle silk, it just adds some fun sparkle. There's a silver version. My friend Tracy gave us a little red one that she made at an event that I eyes at, and then gold. And so these you can just, they look like nail polish, but you just kind of splatter them on, and they add just some fun, you know, just a little bit of embellishing. So I'm just gonna move those to the side, and I'll show you some more what's in here. But those, again, this is all my basic stuff. So I just have it all on hand to make things easy. I have a little thing of wipes. This is not the brand that I would typically suggest. I really like the Costco brand. It's the only one I found that doesn't leave stuff on your stamps. But wipes are really good for wiping down your stamps after. And I'll probably just put some Costco ones in a Ziploc once these are used up. But I still carry these for now. I think I got those at the dollar store. The mini Misty that I already showed you. In here, I always typically, well, or almost always, let me go this way, is that easier to see? We'll have some black paper, and I hold the scraps with it too. And then I usually have a pad of white. I didn't have that right now. It's okay though, because I have white and cut down into card bases and the size that I would stamp on. So it doesn't really matter that I don't actually have the full thing. I do keep this little pack of scraps. White and black are the two that I find that you really can use. Even the tiny little scraps, I might have a little stamp of a butterfly or something like that. And so, which reminds me, the other thing I should have in here somewhere that I don't think I pulled out is I do keep just one little clear acrylic block for stamping in addition to my Misty. And I'm pretty sure it's in here somewhere and I just haven't seen it. The other thing I know I don't have right now, because I'm not sure exactly where I put it today, and you know, we all have those days, right? I do have a little We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard to be able to score things, and it's tiny. It's, you know, it's not very big, and it fits, it's very thin. It fits right in here. And so it usually goes everywhere with me too. This right here is my Copic cheat packet. And so I have all of my Copic colors colored in. And then I have some different kind of tutorial related or learning based sheets that I wanted to keep on hand that are in here. My friend Nikki, in a class I was in, gave us this to teach us some different types of coloring. I also have this that holds my One Sheet Wonder guide, if you've seen that tutorial that I did recently. I have these, I'm not even sure who they're by to tell you. It says starform.com on it. Starform transparent glitter stickers. I got them in a class. They're like, when you put them on, they look like you put little brads or gems or something on your card. And you can see we used like 5 or 6 of them in the class. And I just always think they'd be a really fun, versatile thing to add to cards, and they take no space. So I add them in here, but I haven't used them very much. I just have one thick sheet of cardstock that I've used to ink on the back of. Sometimes you need to kind of keep your space clear. This is a Copic book that's on coloring faces and hair, because I'm doing a lot with Copics. I just like to have it on hand right now. Again, obviously you would make this your own in whatever works for you. And then I also like to have a ruler on hand for a straight edge. And then I had these old border lines by Creative Memories that I think I just didn't know what to do with them, so I stuck them in there, but they make it so I have extra rulers. And then this pen section, so there's all sorts of fun things. A stylus, if you were to be doing kind of old school embossing. I don't know that I'll be doing any of that, but he writes along. Sharpie, that's often what I like to write in my cards with. Pencils, sometimes you just need a watercolor or water marker. Blender pen, that's what they consider that. Okay. Can I pull that out without causing issues? Oh, looks like there's part of my Misty in there. That magnet came off. This guy, poker, so he goes well with that mat that I had from Scrapbooks, etc. if I needed to poke a hole in something. I love gel pens. The silver, I have the silver, I have the gold over here. I have a couple of white ones. Then I have this, I need to get it for a class. It's a Copic multi-liner. I don't think I've ever used it outside that class, but it was kind of cool in the class, so I should. A couple of pencils, those come in handy. I think this is a vinyl tool. Again, I got it in a class and I probably don't use it, but most of those things ended up in here in case I ever need it. Quick stick. This is for picking up little tiny items. I don't use it a whole lot, but it's nice. Sharpie pen. Another pencil. Colored pencils. Now, I had to get these Prismacolors for a class. They're dark brown and orange mineral, and they were used to kind of add a hash marks on something to make it look woven. And I will say they're probably, I still use those, that you do that over top of Copic coloring, and I find them really handy. And then another Sharpie pen. So I like my Sharpie pens. I seem to find lots of different uses for them. So that's everything in this kit. I hope that you found it helpful. Again, you want to make it your own. My one item that I will frequently have on me that I don't have in here is my paper trimmer. The paper trimmer that I use is the Fiskars. It's this guy. And it doesn't fit. It's too wide. So I have to carry it separately. And, you know, even if you needed, say, like it and a 12 by 12 paper something or other, that's it still at least far less in the way of totes that you're carrying. This guy is heavy though. But I find that I don't have to continually pack it and repack it. And I mean, granted, you know, I just took everything out right now. And when you're at a crop, you're going to take out things as you use them and put them back. But it works fairly well for me. And I have, as I said before, I have moved to using kits that are even easier to not have to take things as much along. But I find it really helpful, and I hope you'll follow along and check out the other videos that I'm doing on what to pack for a crop. And I would love to see how you pack if you already, if you are a cropper and like to take things with you, especially if you've kind of battled that challenge of like, how do I not pack too much? And specifically if you're a scrapbooker, because most of my early videos at least are going to be very card intensive, because that tends to be what I take with me. I do scrapbook, and I'll show you some of those later in my videos, or I hope to. But I think that it's definitely an area I would love to see other people's videos. So thanks for watching, and hope that you have a great day. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment on your thoughts, and I look forward to connecting with you. Thanks. Bye.